Live from the AM 1300 The Zone studios in Austin, Texas, this is the Friday Night Countdown. Everything high school football in Central Texas. Let's get to it. Here's your host from Texas Sports Monthly, Russell Dowden.
What's up? Welcome to the Friday Night Countdown. Russell Dowden, Texas Sports Monthly, joined by my co-host here in the studio, TJ McAloon.
Hello.
Steve, what's your name again? Steve Ryan?
Yeah, Steve Ryan. Yeah.
Hunter Cook, Steve Ryan. Here at the Friday Night
start.
Countdown, kicking off week 3 this week here on AM 1300 The Zone. So good games. What games come up last night? Well, were there any good games last night besides the one I was at?
Yeah, I mean, your game was the one I thought we were going to talk about. I mean, Leander Glenn beating McAllen 30-26.
Yeah, looking at these games from last night, guys, that game that I was covering on SHN Sports ended up being the closest game to Leander Glenn winning their first game 30-26 over McAllen. McAllen's a good offensive club, really. I was impressed with them in week 1 against Anderson.
Yeah, well, first varsity win for Leander Glenn. That's huge for them. We shouldn't be that surprised. I mean, they put up 450 total yards on Liberty Hill week 1, and their coach after the game, Jeff Walker, Liberty Hill coach, came out and said, this is a playoff team.
They put that much yards up on the Liberty Hill loss,
yeah.
but that game, they only scored, I think, 21 in that game.
But it was close. Like, it was close going into the third quarter, and then Liberty Hill kind of ran away in the second half. But, yeah, Jeff Walker, the Panthers coach, straight up said, like, that was a playoff team we played right there. And in their first game of varsity football ever. And for McAllen, I mean, the Magic was going to end at some point. That was a 17-game regular season win streak that ended last night. And they just couldn't, they pulled off that big comeback against Anderson Taco Shack Bowl. They had to come from behind last week, too, to beat Lehman. So you knew at some point, I mean, you can't just keep...
Well, they had a chance there late in the game. They actually got a pick on a pressure to that QB for Glenn, threw a pick, but there was a defensive penalty, and they got the down back, and then they scored, and that ended up being your final 30-26. But they were impressive offensively. Again, Glenn really was. What did they do for offense? Do you have that stat at all?
No, I mean,
I didn't.
I do not have that in front of me right now. But a big win just for the program. Their coach Rob Schoenfeld, he was the offensive coordinator at Cedar Park for their 2015 state championship team. Averaged over 45 points per game that season, and this could be interesting to see what Glenn does going forward. The last two Leander schools to open up, went to the state semis within their first 5 years of varsity football, both Rouse and Vandegrift. I mean, that is an area that's got a lot of talent right now, and they got a coach in place who he's been there before. He's done that as an OC, but he does have head coaching experience too. I think he was at like Edna, and there was somewhere else he was at back in the day. I can't remember. But
when did they play Vandegrift? That's what I want to look up.
I don't think they do play Vandegrift.
They don't play. They're not in that district.
No,
they're not in that district.
No, they're in the 5A district with Brenham and Bastrop and all them. But yeah, a great win for the Grizzlies. I mean, they were down 26-21 with 6:23 left. Got a safety on the punt, the special team snap that went out the end zone. And then it was Drew McGuire to Samuel Martin with a 25-yard touchdown pass to take the lead late in the game. And that was it.
I mean, it was an exciting game as far as, well, you couldn't ask for a better win for the home crowd there at Gumpton Stadium. And, they pulled off a win, drove down the field, won it. And congratulations to that squad. The Grizzlies winning their first a varsity game. I guess that they did the JV. They had the JV season the year before.
This was their first year of varsity football,
so
man.
Congratulations to them on that big win last night. And I guess some of the rest of the games were not as close as that one.
Not close at all.
Eastview and Reagan 70-14 last night. Reagan losing but scoring 14. Elgin loses to Pflugerville 40-17. 41-13 Rouse over Weiss. I did an interview today with Weiss coach out there. He's on the website tonight. Well, I think we'll get him maybe in there.
Okay. Yeah.
I just figured, let them get in there and do the coach's corner. What else was a closer game? 30 Anderson 30 over to 14 over Del Valle.
Westlake Aikens was definitely not close.
Not close.
Yeah.
I think the closest
What
game.
was that?
I think the next closest game was Flatonia over Thrall, 34-13. Just God,
A lot of them really lopsided
Crap stuff yesterday.
non-district games not lopsided on Thursday night last night.
Well, that's high school football for you, but good for Westlake. I mean, tough loss for them last week, blowing a 18-point lead to Cy Ranch in the fourth quarter. So they were angry.
Yeah.
They took out some anger on Aikens last night. So good for Westlake. And that game, it was like 16-0, like right off the bat. I think they had a pick six in the opening minute, and then Aikens on the next kickoff, the kid got it at the 1 yard line and didn't realize it, and then took a knee in the end zone for a safety.
Oh,
and
no.
then Westlake scored again. It was literally 16, and they didn't let up. And also, they didn't run the clock in the second half. Normally, you see teams when they're getting blown out, they'll run the clock in the second half. But apparently, Aikens' coach was like, "No, we want to take all of this."
What was he teaching them? What a dummy move. What are you teaching your kids there? You're getting blown out and beat down, and your kids just want to go home. Just run the clock. You give me this long school bus ride back home, too. Just run it. There's no moral victories. You're getting your butt kicked. Just run it and just call it a night.
Hey, you want those reps, but as someone who's a
Reps. You're going to get a kid killed out there.
I don't know about all that. I don't know
I
if they're
couldn't follow.
that much
I
bigger.
couldn't follow. I didn't follow anything really at all. By the time I got home from covering that game, it was pretty late. So and I'm only calling 2 games with SHN, so it was. I didn't even follow any of that stuff till today. So I found out all the blowouts earlier today.
How about that Hutto Liberty Hill game last week? Y'all want to go over some games?
Yeah.
Well,
Talk about that
week?
one.
Especially this week, because this week I just read here that they're worried about. Oh, actually, they have just canceled the Hutto game for this week, I believe.
Oh.
Because it's got rained out here from the Statesman.
Oh, that's
Let me
right.
Look it up.
Yes, they were playing an El Paso team, right?
Yeah, they were playing
Yeah.
an El Paso team, and man, that is just
Yeah.
it's such a drive without the risk of
Right.
Coming all that way.
a torrential downpour like that. That actually gets like dangerous for your safety. It's probably good.
It's like the Griswolds getting the Wally World and finding out that they got canceled.
Well, tell us about last week. Recap a little of that exciting when you were at the Hutto Liberty Hill game.
I mean, just a fantastic game. I mean, game of the year. So we're only week 2, but I have a hard time believing we're going to have a better game than that.
52-51.
52-51 in overtime. They were just going back and forth. Hutto was running the spread, throwing the ball over the place. Liberty Hill was just slot teeing Hutto to death. No one could really get a stop. You had Chase Griffin complete 30 of 44 passes for 455 yards, 7 touchdowns, no picks. Liberty Hill had 531 yards on the ground. Kyle Harrison, 21 carries for 302 yards, 4 touchdowns. Also, I gotta mention Caleb Forrest, the wide receiver for Hutto, 10 catches for 230 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had a lot of yards after the catch, and he had that game-winning touchdown grab in overtime on a back shoulder fade. Great adjustment to the ball.
Forrest is stepping up. He's playing very, very,
He's
very
a dude.
good football right
and
now.
DJ Baptist was actually, I think he was suspended for like the first half or something like that. I don't know exactly why. So they didn't have Baptist in the first half, and he's 1A 1B as far as their top 2 targets with him and Forrest. And so with him out, Forrest made it to where they didn't really miss Baptist much in the first half. And the second half with both of them, Liberty Hill just stood no chance.
It is good, though, that the Hutto kid, he's committed to UCLA, right?
Yes.
So he stepped up in a big game. When he saw his defense wasn't coming through there, he knew, hey, this is my team. I need to put everything on my back right now and go out and make sure that we keep on scoring and get the ball and keep it in there. So it's good that he's such a high commit and he lived up to that hype last week.
And he was so calm and composed. It's not like Liberty Hill wasn't putting any pressure on him or like wasn't holding any resistance whatsoever. Their defensive ends were making their presence felt. They batted some balls at the line. They had him moving around a bit, but Chase Griffin was just unfazed by everything. And I talked to him after the game, and you could see it. You could feel the maturity when you just spoke to him. He just. He's a baller, man.
Just one of those nights. One of those nights where you're on and you can't be stopped.
It probably helps. If he is a D1 level kid, it helps playing high school. I mean, I'm sure it helps that everything is a lot slower for him. If he's that good, he probably has a time to where you can see, okay, here's my guy in the slot. Boom, I can hit him. Because he has the talent to go up to that next level and play against kids who are at that top level in high school from across the country in the Pac-12 next year.
And that's what it is. You know, he's been getting coached up by for a really long time. He had like some connection to George Whitfield, the quarterback coach guy. Like apparently when he was a kid, he used to go to those camps and like help out with Johnny Manziel and all the other. Luckily, he didn't follow the Johnny Manziel route, went the other route.
I mean, go to the NFL as a first-round draft pick. I think that's a pretty good route to follow.
Well, you know what I mean.
Hey, he is one of the only people to go into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama all by himself.
Ole Miss did it.
Yeah, details. Never let details get in the way of a good story.
Does
all right?
any of you have a score on the current game going on? You know, there is a doubleheader at
that's right. Yes.
House Park tonight. I think.
Is it Eastside Memorial
and
somebody?
And Lanier.
Yeah.
The Lanier, go Vikings.
If someone get a score, give us a score.
I don't know. I just was wondering if any of you could pop that up.
Not currently. I don't. But there's some pretty good
but
games.
But that game is going on now, and then it's followed by LBJ will host Waco La Vega.
Okay, Waco La Vega, yeah.
Love the name.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good Mexican dish.
They're good, too. They're good on the field, too.
I bet it's a good dish at the little place, too.
That game is scheduled at House Park for 8 p.m. kickoff, but may be delayed if the rain is bad this week.
Yeah, let's hope we don't get any games.
Unlike last week when we hyped up the rain so much and then fart noise. Didn't rain at all.
Yeah, well, apparently Statesman was saying a lot of the school districts are already kind of planning ahead for potentially some...
To play on Monday.
Tomorrow, yeah, even Monday, yeah. So hopefully it doesn't happen. Does anyone, have like an anti-rain dance they could do right now?
I don't know.
I really want to go to a football game
Stay
tonight.
Hunter,
Hunter, you don't dance?
Don't dance. I can't dance.
No, come on.
You used to the rock away and lean back?
Exactly.
That's right.
Good reference.
Thank you.
Credit to Liberty Hill, though. Back to Liberty Hill. They didn't deserve to lose this game. They played so well. And that slot T offense. We talked about this last week, but I feel like the toughest. And Hunter, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you played defense. You were a defensive lineman at Abilene back then. A state champion, by the way. Have we not mentioned Hunter's a state champion?
We have not.
No.
We should introduce Hunter now.
I don't know why I'm not
Tell
kissing
us
the
about
ring.
that. I don't even know if I knew that, Hunter.
Hunter's not.
I don't think he knew about it either. I know we're not a visual medium, but Hunter Bray's leaned back in his chair and just relegating into his glory.
Well, Hunter, tell me
basking in his glory.
That's not what happened.
I feel like when I was watching the game, I feel like one of the toughest parts of defending the slot T is just locating the ball. There's so much misdirection and so many guys doing different directions. What was you as someone? I mean, what was your experience playing against slot T offenses when you played?
Well, how you defend the slot T just in general it's the same way you defend a triple option. You just hit everybody, and it's that just repeated violence every single play. It's where your linebacker crashes the pitch man, where regardless of whether the pitch man's getting the ball or not. Quarterback has the ball, when he doesn't have it, doesn't matter. He's getting hit. You can't obviously hit him too far after the play. But the way you beat that is you just punish. You punish and you make the game not fun for the other running backs. You don't allow them to get going. And it will wear you down. It is exhausting to play against. It's exhausting to run too. So, I mean, I didn't see Huddle Liberty Hill, but in my experience, that would probably say to me if they got that many rushing yards that just everyone wasn't getting hit every play. That there were some running backs who got to take a couple plays off. And there are a couple fullbacks that didn't get waxed, because if you're waxing that running back every single play, I guarantee you in the fourth quarter, he's going to be a little, not that he's not going to want the ball, but he will be a little bit more skeptical about it. Because if you're getting hit every play, then man, it's a long night.
They were getting him a lot with that trap play where they go right up the middle with Kyle Harrison. I mean, there were a lot of times where he'd go right up the middle just untouched. He had a 70-yard touchdown at one point. No one got a hand on him. A few other plays where they didn't get anything on him until he was well in the secondary.
And it's difficult. And Liberty Hill's a good team. They've been doing this for a while. They run north to south.
Liberty Hill's at Manor tonight. How's Manor looking this year?
Let's see. I got Manor at 1-1 this year. They beat Weslaco East 26-21. Lost to Copperas Cove in a heartbreaker 7-6 last week. They got a good defensive line.
Heartbreaker 7-6. Sounds like it.
They got a good defensive line. 6'5", 240-pound Presley Umnam.
Just let it fly, man. Let it fly, Steve. No one's going to correct you on it.
6'4", 225-pound Trajan Lewis. They can play some defense, and they've already played a power running team, Weslaco East, down from the valley, that with Mike Burgett. They love to run the ball. I don't think they're slot T necessarily, but in their game against Manor, they ran the ball 49 times and threw just one pass. So this isn't the first run-heavy offense Manor will play this year, and they were able to get that win against Weslaco East. But I think Liberty Hill is a far better team than Weslaco East. I know those Valley schools. I know Weslaco East. Mike Burgett has one of the best beards in Texas high school football. Completely off.
Some of the
subject.
first radio high school football I ever covered was down there in Weslaco.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we
There
had
you
a
go.
very similar show on Friday nights on KFRQ in Weslaco, Texas.
Yes,
actually,
yes,
it was
sir.
the radio station down there. But yeah, that's an easy win for Vayner that Weslaco against that Weslaco team. Was it Weslaco, right?
It was Weslaco East. Weslaco East.
Yeah, that's probably a new school.
Yeah, 26-21. But, yeah, I mean, Liberty Hill should have this one, but Manor has the defensive linemen that could give them problems. So,
Yeah.
So you're looking for scores. Mansfield is up 7-0 on Legacy right now with 6:40 left in the first quarter. Credit to Brian Goslett on Twitter.
How bad are my Vikings losing in House Park? I'm just wondering about that one.
Minnesota?
No, the Lanier Vikings.
Oh, sorry. They were talking about Kirk Cousins.
There's no games tonight.
The other big game is San Angelo and Cedar Park tonight in Cedar Park.
San Angelo Central 2-0 versus 0-2 Cedar Park.
Ooh.
Central, though, lost their quarterback
Ooh.
last week. Texas Tech commit Maverick MacGyver is out for the year, so don't know how they're going to look offensively. But this is a battle of two titans. I mean, both teams have won 10 games every year, at least 10 games dating back to 2013. And this is, Cedar Park really scheduled this year, man.
Yeah,
because
they loaded that up.
Next week they get Katy Stinko Ranch. It's conceivable that they're 0-4 going to district play, but that doesn't really mean anything. They just, yeah.
Well, we're going to talk on the other side of our first break here about the Bowie Lake Travis game. That's a big game tonight here at Burger Center. And the Coach's Corner that you did earlier in the week was with Coach Jeff Abels from
Yes.
Bowie. So we'll come back from that break into that segment there, and then we'll talk Cedar Ridge, Vandergrift, and maybe some Big 12 football, but we'll continue the discussion. This is the Friday Night Countdown on AM 1300, The Zone. We'll be right back.
'Cause we are the ones that wanna play, always wanna go, but you
Texas Sports Monthly is available in Austin at over 400 locations around town. With player profiles, coaches interviews, color action photos, in-depth coverage of high school, college, football, and the NFL. The largest free sports publication in Austin, Texas Sports Monthly gives you a closer look at the sports in Central Texas. While football is the main attraction on the menu this season, there's also coverage of local soccer, Texas volleyball, MMA, Austin Spurs basketball, baseball, water and motorsports, and action in the Big 12. Available at all Little Woodrow's, Twin Peaks, Third Base, Dirty Martin Burgers, Randall's Grocery, H-E-B, and most Thundercloud subs. Can't find a magazine? Read online at TexasSportsMonthly.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. All sports, all Texas, all month. That's Texas Sports Monthly. Austin Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is proud to support Central Texas high school football. Dr. Kelso is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon who specializes in arthroscopic surgery of the knee and shoulder. He will keep you active and in the game. Book your appointment today. Call 512-339-0440. The Friday Night Countdown on AM 1300 The Zone is sponsored by South Star Bank, offering mortgage and construction financing, commercial lending, and a full line of competitive deposit products. Learn more at SouthStarBank.com. Member FDIC. Taco Shack is a proud supporter of Central Texas high school football. Congratulations to the winners of the 2018 Taco Shack Bowl, the McCallum Knights. Taco Shack has 9 Austin area locations. Check out the new store in Cedar Park. And introducing the ATX Taco made with brisket from the Pit Barbecue. Enjoy the games this week from your friends at the Taco Shack. Stop by any one of the 9 locations or online at TacoShack.com. The Friday Night Countdown is sponsored by Absolute Propane, offering cylinder filling station, propane cylinder transportation, storage, and use. Absolute honesty, absolute integrity, absolute passion, Absolute Propane in all that we do. That's Absolute Propane. Visit online at AbsolutePropane.com.
The Coach's Corner. Sponsored by Texas Sports Monthly.
Hey y'all, this is Stephen Ryan with the Friday Night Countdown. We got Jeff Abels of Bowie. Coach Abels, y'all are 2-0 to start off the season. Your quarterback, Trinidad Sanders, is really just out there balling right now. Last year he kind of got thrown into the fire, just kind of came in at quarterback after an injury or before the season started. How much better do you think he's been this year because he's had a full offseason to prepare for his role as the number 1 QB?
Ken's done a great job for us, especially after coming off the ACL surgery. And, most of his off-season was recovering from that and strengthening that knee back up. So he's doing a great job for us. He's a good athlete. He's a fierce competitor. So he's done a really, really good job for us.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that ACL. Let's go back into that. What was that like for him? Kind of working because those injuries can be really tough to come back from, not just physically but mentally. What was that like for him working back from that during the offseason? And how proud are you of the way he started the year, considering what he had to go through with that?
Oh yeah, that's a brutal injury. It really is. It's a long recovery. But I tell you, when he got out of surgery, I've never really seen a ACL repair that was so clean and not a whole lot of swelling. He was, trying to get around way before the doctors even said he can start moving around good on it. But he was a good healer, I guess, the best way to put it. And he did everything right. He did all the rehab, took good care of it. We were smart with him as far as, don't do too much, do what the doctor tells you. I know he had some reservations probably going into that first game against Pflugerville and a little concerned about it. That's a normal thing to have, and it tested good. I think he feels a lot better about it now.
Coach, this week y'all got Lake Travis. Not every week you get to play a 6-time state champion. What's your message to the guys in preparation for a game like this?
Well, it's a fun game to play in. When you're playing one of the best teams in the state, it allows you to see where you stack up with those people. And they know they're good, they're very talented. And again, at week 3, it gives you a chance to see where you are in the first district ball game, which is going to be a long process here with our 9-team district. It's not the end. It's just the first game of a long district schedule, and it gives us a chance to see where we stack up.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time.
The Coach's Corner, sponsored by Texas Sports Monthly. Let's get back to the AM 1300 The Zone Studios and your host, Russell Dowden.
All right, welcome back to the Friday Night Countdown. Yeah, good stuff, Steve, there with Jeff Abels, head coach Bowie. They're taking on the hands will be full tonight with at Burger Center hosting Lake Travis, and those studs.
Oh yeah, it'll always be full when Lake Travis comes to town. Elijah Higgins for Bowie will be out for his 3rd straight game. Their stud wide receiver, one of those guys. All the top colleges are after him, so he's going to be a big loss, but they've been fine without him. They dropped 45 on Pflugerville week 1, 49 on San Antonio Madison last week. Big reason for that is quarterback Trinidad Sanders is just playing out of his mind right now. He's the kind of guy, he just puts a lot of stress on defenses with his dual threat ability, the way he's able to really put some air under the ball. He really is just a difficult quarterback to game plan and play against. He really takes advantage of the whole field. But Lake Travis, Lake Travis is Lake Travis.
Yes. 2 games, 7 points per game average.
So what do you think their defense will hold Bowie to?
See, I think they could hold Bowie. I brought this point up last week. I think Lake Travis's defense is much improved from last season. I think the interesting battle will be Bowie's defensive line versus Lake Travis's offensive line, because Bowie has some guys on the line of scrimmage too. Cooper Locke plays both ways, but he's listed as a 3-star defensive tackle. He's got offers from University of Houston, Oregon, Purdue, Texas Tech. Also, Elijah Wesley at 6'3", 220. Another guy that can cause some problems. And we talked about Lake Travis last week, gave up 4 sacks in the first half to Arlington Martin, and they'll be without their running back, Sean Brown-Nixon, who had 100 yards in their season opener.
So Nixon's out that game.
That's what I've read.
Wow.
So we'll see. I mean, Lake Travis, they've been fine. They don't necessarily need a star running back. They've shown over the years. So the run game is more of a complement to the passing game for them. And also Hudson is going to run. He's probably going to run for a lot of yards too. But this could be an interesting game. I still think Lake Travis mostly rolls. They played in 2014. Lake Travis won 64-7, and in the most recent appearances when they were in district together in 2015, Lake Travis won 44-27. One other note I want to make about Trinidad Sanders: great punter. Great punter.
Great punter.
I saw some tapes of him in last week's game against St. Antonio Madison. He had one punt that was so deep that the returner just kept on backing up, and he ended up muffing the ball because he couldn't really get under it in time. He also had 2 other punts down inside the 10-yard line. So,
wow, it's impressive.
Yeah, I feel comfortable taking like LT to win, but also like Bowie is going to make this uncomfortable. This will be.
I agree with you.
Game.
I think that they're going to give him a good run.
Yeah.
Well, and they're well coached too. I mean, Jeff Abels, he's an institution there.
Bowie's big. Those kids are big boys over there. Every year, Bowie's. You were with me last year at that game against Pflugerville.
Yeah,
but that team's always big boys, man.
And they play smart and they play tough. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to intimidate them. You know, they're not going to make a lot of mistakes. And if they can do that, and Lake Travis, gets Lake Travis, we'll see the rain. Do we think the rain is going to happen tonight?
Yes,
Ernest?
it's happening
I
right
think
now.
the rain is going to happen. I think the rain is happening.
Yeah, there we go.
It's in the process of happening.
Well,
it will happen.
That could mess some things up too. We talked about last week that might. And then
I want more
rain
punter
didn't
talk.
happen.
I didn't care one bit about that game until you started talking about the punter, and I got really invested into it.
I have 2 more punters to
Yes,
talk about.
more punter stuff.
I'm just ready for Lake Travis to take a page out of that old Oregon kind of circa 2010 to 2012 with Jeremiah Mazzoli spread offense and start running Garrett Wilson in a bunch of like jet sweeps.
Yeah,
and that's the read option: jet sweep out of no backs, 5 wideouts. That can be terrifying to deal with.
Our big coverage game for Texas Sports Monthly in October is the October 12th matchup. In fact, that may be our cover for October, guys, is the October 12th matchup between Lake Travis and Westlake.
Oh, yeah.
That game in Westlake
game of the year
this year.
every year.
Yeah.
That's the game every year that everyone circles around there and he's like, yeah, let's go to that one.
We got some other pretty good games. I mean, Cedar Ridge Vandegrift. We're all. I feel like we're all like really high on Vandegrift. We're higher on them before the season. Steve and I were. Yeah, they're a good team. They can ball. They can play some defense.
They're playing. Yeah, they beat Killeen Ellison 28-12. 1-0 for that Cedar Park game I didn't bring up last week. The first 7 drives for Cedar Park was 5 3-and-outs and 2 interceptions.
Incredible.
You can't ask.
You don't just do that to Cedar Park. That doesn't just happen. That's not like they didn't mistake their way into that. That is Vandegrift playing excellent defense and taking the ball away and forcing them into that.
And meanwhile, Cedar Ridge is coming off a big win last week. They lost their opener to Temple 45-25, but they got the victory versus Cedar Park last week 34-28. Made back-to-back goal line stands in the fourth quarter to finish off the game. Edgerrin Dillard Williams had 5 tackles for a loss. He has 18 tackles for the season. He's kind of carrying. He's the one returning starter on that defense, and he's the back end on that defense is really struggling. Okay, we brought up that scrimmage that Garrett Wilson just went off against them in week 1 against Temple. Quentin Johnston of Temple had 55, 29, and 71-yard touchdown receptions.
Jeez.
And then last week in Cedar Park, Carson Neal went for 14 catches for 301 yards and 3 touchdowns. So
play better defense, Cedar Park.
Vandegrift's best receiver right now, Trey Mongauzi, has 11 catches for 193 yards, 3 touchdowns. Pretty much half of their receiving production comes from them. Cedar Ridge better put a guy on him. This could be his big game.
Another thing about Edge Dillard Williams, isn't it just great that they have a defensive end literally named Edge?
Yeah,
that's my favorite. That's my favorite part of that. That's a great name.
Yeah,
other games are kind of just to kind of watch on Vista Ridge and McNeil tonight, and then Stony Point and Leander.
Stony Point's 2-0.
McNeil's 1-1. Coach McMahon over there. McNeil's. Yeah. They're always kind of in there. They've been on the bottom end of that district for some time, but I think that program's going to do a little better this year.
I caught them a couple of games last year. If they play anything like they did last year they played tough. They did not quit on any games. And man, like
that quarterback over there is good too. He threw for high numbers. He was one of our last week's high number passing yards standouts. I didn't print those out this week for stats for
how dare you
week winners last week.
And 2 quick other notes. Back to Cedar Ridge real quick. Sorry to bring it back, but Jalen Ellis did not play last week.
Really?
He was on they were supposed to on Thursday, so he was supposed to take a recruiting trip to Michigan.
Ooh.
And so because the game got pushed to Friday, he ended up missing the game because, I mean, you got to go to Ann Arbor when you get a chance, you know what I mean?
As great as high school is, sorry, guys, I'm going to go see Coach Harbaugh.
So he'll be back this week. But
and
then
a blowout, too.
But then Deuce Vaughn, their starting running back, had 17 carries for $125, 2 touchdowns. He got hurt at the end of last week's game, and according to Chris Bills, the Statesman, did not look too good. So it looks like they'll be without Deuce Vaughn, but with Jalen Ellis. I mean, I know Ellis is the better talent, but running backs, man, you know,
need a running back.
Yeah,
You need a running back.
The guy Jacorin Isaac had 16 carries for 64 yards last week, so he filled in admirably. But you know, Deuce was supposed to be their guy this year, and you know they got a pretty good offensive line. That's a unit they want to lead on. So it'll be interesting what kind of effort what Cedar Ridge can do this week. The passing game, Jaylen Brown 3 interceptions, just over 50% completion percentage so far.
50.
Yeah, 50. And then for Vandergrift, you know, they got a lot of guys. Drew Dawson playing really well, 21-29, 23 yards, 6 touchdowns, no picks.
Hendrickson and at Westwood. What do you think of that one?
I mean, this could be a good game. Westwood is 2-0. Great start for them. They're going for their first winning record since 2012. Hopefully, I mean Hendrickson. We know we talked about them a couple weeks ago. We know which guys to watch out. Shaylin Roberts, Curly Young, Clifton Styles, Miles Brooks are featured on a magnificent defense. But Westwood, they might be able to. I mean, they're playing really well offensively on that side of the ball so far. They got a great duo of a great quarterback running back duo of R.J. Martinez, a sophomore, and another sophomore, Nate Anderson. R.J. Martinez has thrown for 458 yards on 42-63 passing, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's also rushed for 4 touchdowns and 112 yards on 21 carries. That's 8 total touchdowns and 570 total yards with a 66% completion percentage. Nate Anderson has 219 yards on 28 carries with a score, 7.8 yards per carry. So Westwood, they're flying high, but you know, Pflugerville, Hendrickson, man, I don't think they're gonna.
It's hard.
It's a tough district.
Yeah, it's hard. If it was another team, maybe like a team that wasn't like so historically good or wasn't so good last year, but Pflugerville Hendrickson is good, and I'd struggle taking a lot of teams to win against them.
They got some guys on defense. You know, it's like a lot of offenses look good until they play Alabama. And I feel like that's what's going to happen to Westwood this weekend.
I think we ought to get Coach Anthony Wood, though, on the show for the Coach's Corner. I'd like to feature them one of the weeks this
that'd be great. And another punter note, Pflugerville Hendrickson, Adam Cousins, great punter. You know, you can buy a good punter with a great defense. I wrote this in my preview on Hendrickson, kind of like with Texas last year when he had Michael Dixon playing off that defense, giving them good field position, giving them good situations. Adam Cousins is a guy who's really good at flipping the field, can do the rugby-style stuff, rugby-style kicks. So we have one more punter note that we might get to. I'm going to squeeze into the very end.
That offensive lineman and punter talk is right up my alley. More fat people and punters.
More punters. More punting in general.
Oh, indeed. More fat punters. Ooh. Combine it like peanut butter and jelly.
A couple other games tonight. New Braunfels Canyon and Dripping Springs. New Braunfels Canyon is 2-0. They beat Lehman 51-17 and Georgetown Eastview 46-44. Those guys run the ball. Nathan Colbreth has 411 yards and 5 touchdowns through 2 games so far, and Seth Leeper-Haynes has 360 yards and 7 touchdowns through 2 games so far. So that's going to be a high-scoring game. Both teams averaging over 40 points per game and allowing more than 30 points per game. So that one's going to be a shootout. Canyon Lake Wimberley. Wimberley lost by 50 to Giddings last week.
Wimberley lost?
Well, to Giddings, they're one of my...
Giddings is good.
Yeah, they're 2-0. They beat Rockdale, 3A state champs, in week 1. It was a lower classification state champion, but still state champion nonetheless. They're doing really good. Giddings. They play Taylor this weekend. They held Rockdale in their week 1 game to 129 yards on 31 plays. And then Wimberley just got nothing on them. And Cooper McCallum, who lit up Burn in week 1, was only 9 for 25 for 154 yards in that game, and they only rushed for 69 yards on 27 attempts. So that Giddings defense, they play ball. And third punter note. So they're playing Taylor. Taylor's made the playoffs the last 8 years, and they have one of the best punters in the country. Ryan Hansen was a Coles Kicking Academy All-American over the summer.
Hey, there you go.
He's a 2-star prospect, legit 2-star prospect.
Do we know anything about the Canyon Lake team? Coach Doug Warren's over there in Wimberley still, but what is...
Yeah, so they play this weekend. Wimberley is 2-0. They haven't really been tested yet. They beat Marble Falls week 1, 22-0, beat Pflugerville Weiss 20-3. They're going to run the ball. So Wimberley, I mean, they had a lot of problems stopping Giddings' rushing attack last week. The Buffaloes had 428 yards and 7 touchdowns on 46 carries, 9.3 yards per carry. Why pass when you average 9.3 yards per carry? No points.
We may get Coach Doug Warren on one of these times.
Absolutely.
Too. I'm a fan of Coach Warren.
Doug's cool.
We've talked to him before last year.
Steve Warren's brother, Hunter. I don't know if you
boy.
knew that. But,
I did not.
Did not know that.
Hey, real quick here, because we have a lot of people in the Central Texas area listening here, and they're probably going to see the Park game. They're warming up right now. Showers are right around the area, so I would bring a heavy umbrella, at least an umbrella, poncho, a boat, an ark, whatever it may be, because it is gonna rain.
San Angelo Central at Cedar Park. I'm supposed to be at that game tonight.
Get a pontoon boat.
Ooh,
So-
yes.
We're going
Bring a-
tailgating. Sailgating.
Bring a
Sailgating. Ooh,
Sailgating.
I like that.
Ooh.
bring an umbrella for that one, guys, or like I said,
But also, you have to watch out for the delays, too. Lightning in the area, that game could go on forever, like a Miami Dolphins game.
I bet a handful are canceled this week. So be on the lookout for that. Then let's go on to, as we go into the break here. Let's talk a little maybe Big 12 football on the other side, but definitely be mindful of that weather. What we need to do is talk about the weather so then it doesn't rain like last Friday.
There you go.
As long as we hype it up, it'll stay away. So every game is, it's gone. It is going to be gone. We're not
gonna
playing
like
football.
So much rain coming out.
So much.
Well, last week
cats and dogs.
It did not rain last week. This week, I don't think we have anything at all to do with that. But we'll see. The Friday night countdown. We'll be right back after this on the other side. AM 1300 The Zone.
Step by step, the clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town.
The Friday Night Countdown, every Friday evening at 6 p.m. Only on Austin Sports Talk Leader, AM 1300 The Zone.
Go Roberts Power Wash is a proud sponsor of Texas high school football, specializing in residential driveways, walkways, solar panels, pools, cars, boats, fences, gutters, and grills. Commercially, Go Roberts Power Wash also supports parking lots, sidewalks, patios, fences, roof gutters, marinas, boats, cars, and more. Visit online at GoRobertsPowerWash.com. That's GoRobertsPowerWash.com. Jason's Deli Westlake welcomes you every day at 3300 Bee Caves Road. It serves bigger choices of better food for all 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and football. Feeding school spirit, it's a family thing. Visit jasonsdeli.com.
Someday, you'll be chatting around a large granite island. Someday, you'll have that home with an open floor plan and an outdoor fireplace. Someday. Wait, why can't someday be today? At Drees Custom Homes, our sales event is here. Homes in the Austin area from $400,000 to $1 million. Visit DreesHomes.com.
The Friday Night Countdown is sponsored by Dirty Martin's Comeback Burgers on the Drag. Serving up great tasting burgers, fries, and shakes on the 40 acres since 1926. Come on by Saturdays for the game and check out our cold draft beers on tap and the selection from the full bar. If you bleed orange on Saturdays, bring the family on down to Dirty Martin's for a comeback burger and enjoy some hot onion rings or a frosty milkshake. That's Dirty Martin's on Guadalupe, a Longhorn tradition since 1926. Texas Sports Monthly is available in Austin at over 400 locations around town. With player profiles, coaches interviews, color action photos, in-depth coverage of high school, college, football, and the NFL. The largest free sports publication in Austin, Texas Sports Monthly gives you a closer look at the sports in Central Texas. While football is the main attraction on the menu this season, there's also coverage of local soccer, Texas volleyball, MMA, Austin Spurs basketball, baseball, water and motorsports, and action in the Big 12. Available at all Little Woodrow's, Twin Peaks, Third Base, Dirty Martin Burgers, Randall's Grocery, H-E-B, and most Thundercloud subs. Can't find a magazine? Read online at TexasSportsMonthly.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. All sports, all Texas, all month. That's Texas Sports Monthly. Austin Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is proud to support Central Texas high school football. Dr. Kelso is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon who specializes in arthroscopic surgery of the knee and shoulder. He will keep you active and in the game. Book your appointment today. Call 512-339-0440. The Friday Night Countdown is sponsored by Absolute Propane, offering cylinder filling station, propane cylinder transportation, storage, and use. Absolute honesty, absolute integrity, absolute passion, Absolute Propane in all that we do. That's Absolute Propane. Visit online at absolutepropane.com.
Hey, man, whoa.
The Friday Night Countdown is hosted and produced by Russell Dowden and Texas Sports Monthly. The views and opinions do not necessarily reflect those of the show's sponsors, advertisers, or iHeartMedia. The Friday Night Countdown is unscripted and its content is solely the opinions of the show's staff and producers.
There, asserted.
All right, welcome back to the Friday Night Countdown. Russell Dowden, your host, taking you through some of the games tonight. And stay dry out there, folks, if you can. Bring a poncho, a trash bag, an umbrella, and watch for lightning.
That's the big one. That's the one that shut down basically all of the NFL. Not the whole NFL, like South Florida last week was the lightning delays.
Oh, yeah, the Titans game.
Titans-Dolphins, two lightning delays.
Yeah, that game.
7 hours that game lasted, the longest NFL game in history.
I
7
was
hours.
watching that because I've got a couple of guys on fantasy for Titans. But yeah,
wow.
Well, they got a running back. It's not too bad.
But Derrick Henry's
headlines in football: Ravens lost last night to the Bengals.
It was brutal,
Justin Tucker, 55-yard field goal.
There was a football game last night.
Dude, let's talk about UT's Justin Tucker. Man, 55 yards, booted it down the middle, and had room to spare for like another 5 or 6 yards to go for. And that guy is a god.
Westlake's Justin Tucker, too, not just UT's Westlake.
There you go. Way to tie it back
Chaps.
in high school. But the dude, really, he is so good, Justin Tucker. Man,
Yeah.
I mean, if not for him, this Ravens team would have, there was a year, I think it was 2013 or 14, where he kicked, I think, 3 or 4 game-winning field goals that kept him alive in the playoff chase. I believe it was for, I forget what site it was waiting for, but I made a case that he should have been the NFL MVP that year. You laugh, but without him, they aren't a playoff contending team.
There is booting.
Texans play the Titans this Sunday at noon, so if Texans fans tune in for that one. The
Deshaun Watson.
Cowboys... That game you can hear here on the Zone. The Cowboys game is going to be it's a Sunday night game on NBC at 7:20 p.m. against the Giants, division rival game. So that's a big one to be looking out for on the NFC East. What's this? Did you guys hear about this? Jaguars star Jalen Ramsey was asked about
how could you hear Jalen Ramsey? This guy is broadcasting from Jacksonville. You can hear him all the way through I-35. That's how loud his mouth is, and his clothes. If you see his GQ profile. The dude knows how to dress.
Said he would knock his grandmother out if she was on the field. Is that serious during games? I didn't know if you guys saw that comment.
Well, I mean, he's going to take down the giant polar bear this week in Gronkowski.
Well, let's see what happens with that one. I think Gronk will do well.
Well, if he stays on the field, and Gronk's always injured.
Didn't Jalen Ramsey before the season talk trash and say like there was no one on the Patriots who's good?
Yeah, aside from Brady. Brady's good, but he makes all their trash receivers.
And he was talking trash towards Gronk too.
God,
the mediocre tight end.
Well, I mean, he's a polar bear. First off, let's not get it twisted. Gronkowski's not a human being. That is either a Frankenstein or an animal they've trained to catch the ball and run routes.
He's like Bender. He runs on beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and Red Bull.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Four Loko.
Yeah. But no, I like it. I like that there's a guy in the NFL who's like a little bit different than the kind of cut and dry, like, oh, we're going to go out there and we're going to play hard and good job, everybody. Shake everyone's hand. No, like, he doesn't like you.
Good.
He wants to win the game. Good.
This is why I hope Baker Mayfield does well in Cleveland.
Exactly.
Bringing back Texas high school football. Because in Lake Travis, I'm sure he was just as loud and brash because, hey, I'm better than you and you know it.
Oh, yeah. And you have to have that kind of mentality, especially if you're like Jalen Ramsey and you're on that island. Like, you have to, if you don't think that you're better than the receiver that you're facing, then how do you win?
You don't. It's like so we'll circle back to the Cowboys this week because you brought up how they're playing the Giants week 2, which the Cowboys offense was just absolute dumpster fire this past week. I mean, horrendous. In which you see Des Bryant tweet out, "Hey, y'all miss me yet?"
I mean, how could it have been better with Des Bryant? They said they struggled getting open. So how would having Des Bryant there
I mean, yes, it's funny, but it's actually you bring it up there with Dez. He was with Jerry, and Steve, if you're with Jerry at a Beyonce concert, does that kind of fuel the fires that there's some talks between them? What do you think?
I have no idea. I mean, you got cut. No, he's not. No,
he's not going to.
No,
why not?
That's just
because they just cut him.
It's just
Dez is a survivor.
Dude.
Longhorns are. What about Longhorns tomorrow? These guys are going to be favored by 3 only.
Only a team that struggled
against USC,
struggled against Tulsa at home in their home opener, which had their fans booing them. Which I don't blame them. This is Tulsa. This ain't the TCU the following week. This isn't Iowa State coming in. Hell, I would not be surprised if they lose to Kansas this year.
You shouldn't boo your own team.
I
never agree with booing your own team.
I think that they're going to. I think they'll beat USC. I think little Jordan Humphrey will have a good game, and Ellinger will run the ball well. I think he'll outperform that freshman quarterback.
And we talked about a little bit this before the show. USC is not as good as their ranking says they are. They have a quarterback, JT Daniels, who should be in high school right now. He was a high school senior, graduated early to come to USC. This is his senior year. He's not just like, oh, he's 18 years old, he's going to turn 19 later in the year. He is a high school senior, and He is their quarterback. Not great. And let's be very, very real. This is seeming like a pretty desperate time for Tom Herman. Because you lose this game, you move into conference 1 and 2. When you look at the Longhorn schedule, can you find 5 games and say they are going to win these and they are going to make a bowl game again?
God, no.
I don't think you can find
even
5.
Baylor this year is good.
I don't think you can find. I don't think you can find 5 locks.
Right.
You cannot find 5 games and lock it in. So winning this game at home while you still have the groundswell support of fans, even after they were frustrated after the Tulsa game and after the Maryland game. It's the 3rd game of the year. That fan base will still give them a chance. This feels like not desperate times, but it feels more like a must-win game than not.
I tell you what, this is a lemon booty game. So if you don't know what lemon booty game is if Texas goes down quick, like 7-0 in that first drive with USC, those booties are going to get very tight. And it'd be very pressing the play. The Ellinger forcing throws. Ellinger forcing the run. Defense trying to force plays and making dumb penalties. Lemon booty
sphincter move.
I think we'll see. Yeah, I think being the more physical team goes a long way in the game of football, and I think Texas could very well be the more physical team in this matchup. USC had a lot of trouble protecting JT Daniels last week. They are bottom 10 in yards per carry allowed. If Texas can lean on that advantage, which I believe they have over USC, they can definitely win this game. But I just don't trust Texas to win a game like this, man. I mean, since Mac Brown retired, they're 7-15 in games decided by a touchdown or less.
Right.
This isn't 2005 Texas.
They've had some bad beats.
It's 2018 Texas, and I just don't really. I can't really believe in them, especially after the first 2 weeks they've had. Losing to Maryland and beating Tulsa by only 7. I can't.
Well, here's the thing. Great point by Steve there. When Mac Brown had him, he had stars on that team. He had, like the 2005 Rose Bowl game, you had stars. Vince Young, star. Michael Griffin, star. This team, exactly. The silence says it right there. Where's your star?
Well, we don't know that yet because it's not the end of the season.
It doesn't matter.
We don't know who's a star
but
or not.
You knew coming into the year, though, you had the stars. Even those years in 2010 and 11, you had the stars. Well, where's the last first-round draft pick from this team?
Connor was the second round. My mistake. But
Malcolm Butler, the defensive tackle?
Look, no one is predicting Texas to go and win 10 games and make the national championship like they did in 2005. Those are 2 very, very different scenarios. But speaking of the mid-odds football and Texas, let's move out west and talk about a little Texas Tech versus Houston. The line on this game,
they're both
is
Raiders.
Houston. The line on this game is Houston 1.5. And if you don't take this, you're crazy. Ed Oliver is a man among boys. We could sit here and talk for an hour about how good Ed Oliver is, and it would not be enough. He's not just a lock for the first round of the NFL draft. He should be a lock for the first pick overall.
Right.
This is a generational type of talent. You take him. And against the Texas Tech team that looked a little bit better against Lamar, but still really struggled against talent against Ole Miss, it is hard for me to see Texas Tech winning this game.
Yeah,
even at home.
I agree with you on that
It'll be a
end.
good game.
I think Texas Tech is going to have trouble moving the ball against Houston, but I also think we're going to see the Texas Tech defense that Red Raider fans were hoping for, but didn't see against Ole Miss. I felt like the defense performance against Ole Miss wasn't as bad to me as it was to a lot of Texas Tech fans. I just felt like the secondary let the rest of the unit down. You know, a defense is only as strong as its weakest link in some ways. And Ole Miss, every single touchdown was 30 yards or more. It was either a long touchdown pass or it was a run where the secondary just failed to come up for run support. You know, every now and then you're going to have all the front seven guys blocked. You need safeties that can tackle. I mean, I'm sorry. Not every defensive back can be Deion Sanders and get away with not tackling, okay? You know what I mean?
a good one.
And both times, both of the long touchdown runs, we had a safety guy right there, ready to make the stop for 5 or 6 yards, and they just weren't able to make the play. So I think the secondary, if they can play a better game this Saturday, I think it's going to be low, like last year. 27-24 was the final score last year in Houston. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. And I got Texas Tech, baby.
Houston in a beatdown in Arizona last week.
We will, yes. That's what I want to talk about, too.
You guys are Tech. You guys both graduated from Tech, so you both agree that they're going to win this week against Houston.
No, he said
I'm taking Houston.
Okay, so Hunter's taking Houston.
Houston put Arizona in a dumpster last week. D'Eriq King threw 4 touchdown passes. This is a legitimately good Houston football team that probably feels a little bit peeved about the loss last year because they didn't have they had Kyle Allen in the first half. He didn't do great. They put another quarterback in the second half. They start winning the game. And they nearly won it there at the end. It was a game the Tech had complete control of, and they lost control of. They probably feel a little bit slighted about that.
So let's do a fourth and long. Fourth and long is our long shot pick of the week. Anybody got a long shot that they're going to take an upset over someone?
I'll take 2. I got 2 for you here. I got
upset of the week. Is fourth and long.
I got Troy over Nebraska. As I was telling y'all, I'm a huge Group of 5 advocate. Love the Trojans. Head coach Neil Brown, former Texas Tech offensive coordinator, one of the rising stars in the coaching ranks right now. They got a good defensive line in Nebraska. I mean, they haven't been good in a while. They lost to Colorado last week. This is a game I totally think Troy can win. They're the best team in the Sun Belt Conference. Also, Toledo and Miami. Toledo, one of the better teams.
Rockets.
One of the better teams in the MAC. Right. They got talent. They got talent.
This is in Toledo too.
Yeah.
This isn't in South Beach. This is in Toledo.
And they got a week off. They had a week off last week.
That's right.
So they had an extra week to prepare and rest. Toledo over Miami.
And Rozier, not that great of a quarterback, and behind him are 2 unproven backups, N'Kosi Perry and I'm forgetting the freshman's name. He's escaping right now. But yes, that is a solid pick because
I like that
Miami
pick.
can't really move the ball if Rozier's not having a good game.
So hear me out here. My underdog pick of the week, I will take TCU to cover the spread against Ohio State.
That's fine.
They will not win. TCU will cover the spread, which is 12.5 points. I like that. And if you don't like that, here's another one for you in a game that we should have probably talked about more when we talked about like any picks. How in the world is Oklahoma State favored at Boise State? Take that line. Take that line. Boise State is great. In the past 4 games against AP-ranked teams at home, Mike Gundy has lost 4 of them. They are 6-9 in AP top 10 ranked matchups at home all time. Or not top 10, just AP ranked. They are not good when a good team comes to town. Take Boise State.
And Boise State's a solid team on both sides of the ball. They're not just offense this year. They're good on defense too. They're going to go, and they're not scared of playing anybody, anywhere. They haven't quite been on the Cruz Peterson, Kellen Moore level in a while, but they've still been good. I think this could be the start of getting back to that level. I mean,
if they take,
okay, does anybody have a Friday night football over fourth and long?
Well, right now it's Georgia State against Memphis, so I guess
Friday night football.
I'll be your Huckleberry and say Georgia State because go Georgia State.
I don't have one. Sorry.
Well, I wasn't ready.
No
for
one's
that.
taking Bowie over Lake Travis.
I'm not, man. Can't do it.
I'm not either, guys. Well, that's gonna wrap the show. Stay dry out there, folks. The weather is calling for lightning and rain, and it's been like that the last week or two. Haven't had a lot of dry football this season.
It's been good. I've been hanging out on the front patio, just kind of watching the rain a little bit over the last weekend.
Yeah, it's been
it's relaxing.
nice and cool to have the rain, but not good for Friday night football and the fans trying to stay dry out there at the stadium. So
bring a boat.
Anyways, bring your umbrella for sure, and be mindful of the weather tonight, guys. It's the Friday night countdown. Thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week. AM 1300 The Zone.
Got Google? Just say, okay, Google, play AM 1300 The Zone on iHeartRadio.
Playing 1300 The Zone.
What does building a better bank look like? It starts with building Capital One cafes, warm, inviting places that feel nothing like a typical bank, where you can open an account with no fees or minimums in 5 minutes. And you'll always find people ready to help you, not sell you. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One and a member FDIC. Cafes available in select locations. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
Austin Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is proud to support Central Texas high school football. Dr. Kelso is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon who specializes in arthroscopic surgery of the knee and shoulder. He will keep you active and in the game. Book your appointment today. Call 512-339-0440. The Friday Night Countdown on AM 1300 The Zone is sponsored by South Star Bank, offering mortgage and construction financing, commercial lending, and a full line of competitive deposit products. Learn more at southstarbank.com. Member FDIC. Taco Shack is a proud supporter of Central Texas high school football. Congratulations to the winners of the 2018 Taco Shack Bowl, the McCallum Knights. Taco Shack has 9 Austin area locations. Check out the new store in Cedar Park. And introducing the ATX Taco made with brisket from the pit barbecue. Enjoy the games this week from your friends at the Taco Shack. Stop by any one of the 9 locations or online at tacoshack.com. The Friday Night Countdown is sponsored by Absolute Propane, offering cylinder filling station, propane cylinder transportation, storage, and use. Absolute honesty, absolute integrity, absolute passion, Absolute Propane in all that we do. That's Absolute Propane. Visit online at absolutepropane.com. Go Roberts Power Wash is a proud sponsor of Texas high school football, specializing in residential driveways, walkways, solar panels, pools, cars, boats, fences, gutters, and grills. Commercially, Go Roberts Power Wash also supports parking lots, sidewalks, patios, fences, roof gutters, marinas, boats, cars, and more. Visit online at GoRobertsPowerWash.com. That's GoRobertsPowerWash.com.